There are moments in life when you know, instantly, that you'll never be the same again. That damn Tuesday was one of those moments for me. I, Donovan Sterling, Manhattan real estate mogul, a man who had negotiated with the fiercest sharks of Wall Street without blinking, walked into that small Boston bakery with absolute certainty that I'd walk out in 10 minutes with a signed contract. After all, that's what I did. I identified strategic properties, offered an irrefusable amount, and built my glass and steel empires on the rubble of the past. The doorbell chimed when I entered, and the aroma of fresh bread and cinnamon hit me like a nostalgic punch I wasn't expecting. But it wasn't the smell that completely threw me off balance. It was her. Clementine Hayes stood behind the counter with flour on her face, a faded pink apron, and red curls escaping from a messy bun. When our eyes met, something strange happened in my chest, as if someone had turned off all my logical circuits and turned on something more primitive, more dangerous. She had green eyes that seemed to see through all my armor of Italian tailoring and corporate cynicism. "Can I help you?" she asked, and even her voice had that soft Boston accent that made everything more human. I shook my head, recomposing my mask of relentless executive. "Donovan Sterling. I'm here to make an offer on your property." Her smile died instantly. "Oh, you're that Sterling." I should have noticed the danger in that tone. I should have backed away. But I was Donovan Sterling. I didn't back away. "Miss Hayes, I'm prepared to offer 3 times the market value of this property. It's a generous offer for an establishment that, frankly, is occupying space far too valuable for—" "For what?" she interrupted, and I saw the green of her eyes grow darker, stormier. "For a family bakery that's been here for 70 years? For the place where my grandmother taught my mother how to make bread, and my mother taught me? For the heart of this community? For a business that's clearly struggling to survive," I retorted, and I could see my words hit her like arrows. But I didn't stop. I never stopped. "The numbers don't lie, Miss Hayes. Your finances are public. You're 3 months from bankruptcy. I'm offering you a dignified way out." What she did next caught me completely off guard. Clementine walked to the front door, threw it wide open, and pointed to the street with a wooden spoon that still had dough stuck to it. "Get out of my bakery." "Miss Hayes, be reasonable." "Get out of my bakery." Each word was a bullet, and for the first time in a decade I felt small. "And you can take your generous offer, your ridiculously expensive suit, and your arrogance back to Manhattan. This bakery is not for sale, not to you. Not to anyone. I'd rather go bankrupt fighting than sell my soul to a heartless man to build yet another glass and steel monstrosity." I stood there, my pride bleeding, as she continued. "People like you think you can buy everything, think money solves everything. But you know what you can't buy, Mr. Sterling? Legacy, history, soul." I left that bakery with my face burning with humiliation and something I hadn't felt in years. Uncertainty. Now, 3 days later, sitting in my 45th floor office overlooking Boston, I can still see those green eyes shooting daggers at me. Still hear those words cutting deep. And the worst part? The absolutely unacceptable part? I can't stop thinking about her. I can't stop remembering how magnificent she looked defending her territory, like a warrior covered in flour. I can't forget that, for the first time in my adult life, someone looked me in the eyes and saw me exactly for what I was, a cruel man who destroyed dreams to build buildings. And that makes me furious, because I need that property. My $2 billion project depends on it. My reputation, my legacy, everything is at stake. But when I close my eyes, all I see is Clementine Hayes throwing me out of her bakery with a wooden spoon and more dignity than I've ever had in my entire life. God help me, because I'm going to have to go back there. And this time, I have no idea what's going to happen. I've never been a man who apologizes. Apologies are for the weak, for people who make mistakes. I don't make mistakes. I make calculated decisions that sometimes have unexpected outcomes. But here I am, standing outside Hayes and Daughter's bakery at 6 in the morning, holding a ridiculously overpriced bouquet of flowers and rehearsing words I never thought I'd say. The truth is, I spent the last week trying every legal avenue to acquire that property. I contacted city councilmen, zoning officials, even her landlord. Every door slammed in my face harder than the last. Apparently, Clementine Hayes isn't just beloved in this neighborhood. She's practically a saint. The woman who gives free bread to the homeless shelter every Sunday. The baker who taught free classes to underprivileged kids last summer. The granddaughter who kept her family's legacy alive when everyone expected her to sell out years ago. Everything I'm not. The lights inside flicker on, and I see her silhouette moving through the kitchen. My heart does something stupid and irregular, and I hate it. I hate that she's gotten under my skin. I hate that I've checked my phone obsessively for a week hoping she'd call. I hate that I know she won't. I push open the door. The bell chimes and she looks up from a massive bowl of dough. "You've got to be kidding me." Her voice is flat, exhausted. There are dark circles under those green eyes, and something twists in my chest. "It's 6 a.m, Sterling." I know I couldn't sleep. The honesty surprises us both. "Well, I have work to do, so if you're here to throw more money at me, I'm here to apologize." The words feel foreign in my mouth, like speaking a language I never learned. Clementine freezes, her hands deep in the dough. "What?" I was cruel, dismissive. "I treated your life's work like it was nothing more than a line item on a spreadsheet." I step closer, and she doesn't move away. Small victory. "You were right about everything you said. I am heartless. I do think money solves everything. And I've spent the last week trying to prove you wrong about myself, only to realize you saw me more clearly in 5 minutes than most people do in years." She's staring at me like I've grown a second head. "Did you hit your head? Have a stroke?" I wish it were that simple. I set the flowers on the counter between us. "I did some research. Your great-grandmother opened this bakery in 1955. She was an Irish immigrant who arrived with nothing but a recipe book and a dream. Your grandmother expanded it. Your mother made it a neighborhood institution. And you..." I pause, meeting her eyes. "You've been keeping it alive with your bare hands while the world tries to tear it down." Flattery won't change my answer, Sterling. "Donovan, my name is Donovan. I don't know why it matters, but it does. And I'm not trying to flatter you. I'm trying to understand why I can't stop thinking about a woman who threw me out of her bakery with a wooden spoon." A blush creeps up her neck. "Got her. That's not my problem," she says. But her voice has softened just a fraction. "What if I could help you instead of hurt you?" "Help me?" She laughs, bitter and sharp. "You want to help me by taking away everything I have?" "No. I want to help you keep it." The plan I've been formulating all week finally takes shape in words. What if I invested in Hayes and Daughters instead of destroying it? I could provide capital for renovations, expansion, marketing. You'd maintain full creative control and ownership. I'd be a silent partner. Why would you do that? Suspicion clouds her features. What's in it for you? Everything, I think. A chance to be near you. A chance to prove I'm not the monster you think I am. A chance to feel something other than the cold emptiness that's been my constant companion for years. My building project can wait 6 months, I say instead. Maybe a year. And maybe I'm tired of destroying beautiful things. She looks at me for a long moment, and I feel exposed in a way that no boardroom negotiation has ever made me feel. "You're serious?" "I don't joke about business, Clementine. And that's the first time you've used my first name." She wipes flour on her apron, a nervous gesture that I find unreasonably charming. "I don't trust you, Donovan Sterling." Smart woman. But she bites her lip, and I force myself to focus on her words, not her mouth. "I'm drowning here. The bank is breathing down my neck. My suppliers are demanding payment I don't have. And I'm so damn tired of pretending I have everything under control when I'm 1 bad month away from losing everything my family built." The vulnerability in her voice breaks something in me. Then let me help. No strings attached. We'll have my lawyers draw up an agreement that protects you completely. If you hate working with me, you can buy me out at any time, but at least give yourself a fighting chance. Why do I feel like I'm making a deal with the devil? Because you probably are. I smile, and for the first time in days it feels genuine. But even the devil keeps his contracts. She studies my face, looking for the lie, the angle, the trap. She won't find one because, for once in my ruthless life, I'm being completely honest. Finally, she extends her hand, covered in flour and dough. 1 month trial. You step out of line once, and this deal is over. I take her hand, warm and strong and real. 1 month. As we shake on it, I realize I've just made either the best or worst decision of my life. And looking into those storm-green eyes, I'm terrified it might be both. Day 3 of our partnership, and I'm covered in flour, sweat, and regret. No, no, no! Clementine snatches the mixing bowl from my hands. You're overworking the dough. It needs to be handled gently, with respect. Like this. Her hands move through the mixture with practiced grace, and I find myself mesmerized by the motion. I negotiate billion-dollar deals, Clementine. I think I can handle some dough. Your billion-dollar deals don't require a gentle touch, apparently. She shoots me a look that's half amusement, half exasperation. In baking, force destroys everything. You have to feel it, understand it, work with it, instead of trying to dominate it. The metaphor isn't lost on me. It's been 72 hours since we shook hands on our arrangement, and I've learned more about my own inadequacies than I have in the last decade. Clementine insisted that if I was going to invest in her bakery, I needed to understand it from the ground up. Which is how I, Donovan Sterling, found myself reporting to a bakery at 4 in the morning for the past 3 days, learning the difference between proofing and proving, between lamination and folding. My assistant nearly had a coronary when I cancelled my morning meetings. My board members are 1 day away from staging an intervention. But I can't seem to care. Not when Clementine laughs at my failed attempts to pipe frosting. Not when she lights up explaining the chemistry of yeast. Not when she accidentally brushes against me in the tight kitchen space and I feel electricity shoot down my spine. Earth to Donovan. She waves a floury hand in front of my face. You're staring again. I'm observing, learning. You're staring. But she's smiling now, that devastating smile that makes her whole face glow. Come on, Rockefeller. The morning rush starts in 20 minutes, and we still need to fill the display case. The morning rush, I've discovered, is controlled chaos. Clementine moves like a dancer, serving customers, remembering names, asking about sick relatives and job interviews and grandchildren. She knows everyone, and everyone knows her. Mrs. Chen gets an extra croissant because she's been having a hard week. Tommy, the construction worker, gets his coffee before he even orders it. The Hayes sisters who own the flower shop next door get a family discount that's basically highway robbery. You're losing money on half these sales, I mutter, as I watch her hand an elderly man twice as much bread as he paid for. Mr. Petrov is a widower on a fixed income. He shouldn't have to choose between bread and his heart medication. That's not how businesses work. That's not how your businesses work. She turns to me, hands on hips. This isn't just about profit margins, Donovan. It's about community. People. People don't pay your suppliers. And suppliers don't give you a reason to wake up every morning. We stare at each other across the counter, and I realize we're having our first real fight. Something hot and alive crackles in the air between us. You're impossible, I say. You're heartless, she counters. We've established that. Have we? She steps closer, and I can smell cinnamon and vanilla on her skin. Because the heartless Donovan Sterling I threw out last week wouldn't be here at 4 in the morning learning to braid challah bread. He wouldn't remember that Mrs. Chen likes her coffee with 2 sugars. He wouldn't have noticed that I've been favoring my left leg because I twisted my ankle yesterday. You twisted your ankle? I haven't noticed, and the fact that she thinks I have does something strange to my chest. See? Heartless. But she's teasing now, the tension breaking like a fever. That's when Marcus Chen walks in. Marcus Chen, with his perfect hair and his perfect smile and his organic juice bar across the street. Marcus Chen, who Clementine's face lights up for in a way that makes me want to put my fist through something. Clemmy! He leans across the counter like he owns it, like he has the right to use that nickname. You're glowing today. New skincare routine? Just the usual exhaustion and existential dread, she laughs, and I hate how comfortable they are together. I keep telling you, sell this place and come work with me. We'd make an amazing team. His eyes linger on her in a way that makes my jaw clench. The offer still stands. Thanks, Marcus, but I'm good. Actually, I have a new business partner now. She gestures to me, and I step forward, probably more aggressively than necessary. Donovan Sterling, this is Marcus Chen. Marcus, Donovan. The handshake is a silent war. Sterling, the real estate guy? Marcus's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Interesting choice, Clem. I didn't think you'd sell out. I didn't sell out. We're partners. Partners. He draws out the word like it's poisonous. Well, good luck with that. We all know how Sterling's partnerships usually end. He turns to me. Enjoy it while it lasts. Clementine is one of a kind. After he leaves, the silence is deafening. Old friend? I ask, trying to keep my voice neutral. Ex-boyfriend. She doesn't look at me, suddenly very interested in rearranging the pastry display. It ended 2 years ago. We're friends now. He doesn't want to be friends. That's not your concern. Isn't it? I'm your partner now. Business partner, Donovan. Let's not forget the boundaries here. But as she walks away, leaving me alone with the ghost of Marcus Chen's territorial smile, I realize something terrifying. I don't want boundaries. I want her to look at me the way she looked at him, with comfort, with history, with possibility. And that wanting is going to destroy everything I've carefully built, both my empire and my defenses. God help me. But I think I'm falling for the woman I came here to destroy. The call comes at 2 in the morning. I'm awake, of course, because I haven't been sleeping well since Clementine Hayes walked into my life and turned it upside down. I'm reviewing contracts, trying to focus on the Denver project, trying to convince myself that what I'm feeling is just fascination, just a passing obsession that will fade once the novelty wears off. Then my phone rings, and her name lights up my screen, and my heart stops. Clementine? Donovan. Her voice cracks, and I'm already reaching for my keys. I'm sorry to call so late. I didn't know who else. The bakery, I'm on my way. Don't move. I break every speed limit getting to the bakery. When I arrive, there are fire trucks, police cars, and Clementine sitting on the curb wrapped in a blanket, looking smaller than I've ever seen her. I'm out of the car before I fully park, running to her side. Are you hurt? She shakes her head, but tears are streaming down her face. The oven, it malfunctioned. The fire department got here in time, but Donovan, the damage, her voice breaks completely. Everything my grandmother built, everything my mother preserved, I destroyed it all. You didn't destroy anything. This was an accident. An accident I couldn't prevent because I've been too stubborn to replace equipment I can't afford. She laughs bitterly. You were right. I've been running this place on prayer and desperation, and now look. I sit beside her on the curb, not caring that my $1,000 suit is getting dirty. Can I see the damage? The fire chief, a burly man named Rodriguez, gives us the rundown. The kitchen is gutted, smoke damage throughout. The wiring is shot. Repairs will take weeks, maybe months, and the cost. $60,000 minimum, he says. And that's if you do a lot of the work yourself. I watch Clementine's face crumble, watch her dreams ash in real time, and something in me breaks open. I'll handle it, I say. No. Her voice is sharp, defensive. This is exactly what you wanted, isn't it? Me desperate enough to sell. Well, congratulations, Sterling. You win. That's not... I grab her shoulders, forcing her to look at me. Clementine, listen to me. I don't want to win. Not like this. Never like this. Then what do you want? She's crying again, and I've never felt more helpless. Why are you even here? Because I can't imagine being anywhere else. Because the thought of you hurting makes me hurt. Because somewhere between the flower fights and the early mornings and your terrible coffee, I stopped being Donovan Sterling, corporate raider, and became someone I don't recognize. I'm here because we're partners, I say instead. And partners don't abandon each other when things get hard. Over the next 72 hours, I learn what it means to actually work. I call in every favor I have. I get contractors who owe me money to bump Clementine to the front of their schedule. I personally strip the damaged drywall because she won't let me hire someone. I spend 16 hours a day covered in soot and sweat, and I've never felt more alive. Clementine works beside me, silent and focused, her grief channeled into reconstruction. We don't talk much. We don't need to. There's something sacred in this shared labor, in building something together instead of tearing it down. On the third night, we're painting the kitchen walls at midnight. Jazz plays softly from her phone. We're both exhausted, covered in paint and plaster dust. "Why are you really doing this?" she asks quietly. I could lie. Should lie. But I'm too tired for lies. Because when I walked into this bakery 2 weeks ago, I was empty, successful, powerful, rich beyond measure, and completely empty. I set down my paint roller. I built an empire by destroying things like this. Beautiful, authentic things. And I told myself it was just business, just progress. But the truth is, I was destroying them because I couldn't create anything myself, couldn't build anything that mattered. Donovan, you asked me that first day what I couldn't buy. You were right. I can't buy legacy, can't buy soul, can't buy whatever it is that makes this place glow with life even when it's literally burned. I turned to face her fully. But maybe, if I help you rebuild it, some of that light will rub off on me. Maybe I can learn to create instead of destroy. She's staring at me with those impossible green eyes, and I feel naked, exposed, terrified. "You're not who I thought you were," she whispers. "Neither are you. I thought you were just another obstacle, another property to acquire." I laugh shakily. "Turns out you're the most formidable opponent I've ever faced." "Because I won't sell? Because you make me want to be better." The air between us crackles with something dangerous and inevitable. She's standing close enough that I can count the paint splatters on her cheek, can see the gold flecks in her green eyes. "This is a bad idea," she breathes, but she doesn't move away. "Terrible idea," I agree, and I'm leaning in, and she's leaning in, and... My phone rings, loud and jarring and absolutely unwelcome. It's my attorney. The board has called an emergency meeting. They're concerned about my erratic behavior and neglect of duties. If I don't return to Manhattan immediately, there will be consequences. "You need to take that," Clementine says, stepping back, and the moment shatters like dropped glass. "Clementine, go, Donovan. Your real life is calling." I want to argue, want to tell her that this, covered in paint at midnight, rebuilding a bakery with a woman who challenges every fiber of my being. This feels more real than anything I've ever known. But I don't. Because I'm a coward. Because I don't know how to choose between the life I've built and the life I'm discovering I want. So I leave her standing in the half-painted kitchen, and with every mile I drive back to Manhattan, I feel something precious slipping through my fingers. And I have no idea how to hold on to it. The Manhattan boardroom feels like a tomb. 15 faces stare at me across the mahogany table, varying degrees of disappointment and anger etched into their expressions. My father's oldest friend, Gregory Morrison, leads the charge. 3 weeks, Donovan. You've been absent for 3 weeks while a $2 billion project sits in limbo. Investors are getting nervous. The city council is losing patience. And you're playing house with a baker in Boston? I'm not playing house. I'm investing in a failing bakery worth less than what you spend on cars. Morrison's voice cuts like a blade. We've all tolerated your eccentricities because you deliver results. But this is career suicide. The Boston project can wait. The Boston project is the bakery property, Donovan. Morrison slams his hand on the table. That location is the cornerstone of the entire development. Without it, we have nothing. And you've been so busy playing Bob the Builder that you've forgotten what you're actually there to do. My stomach drops. What did you do? What you should have done weeks ago. I sent Cooper to handle the acquisition. He's meeting with Miss Hayes this afternoon with an offer she can't refuse. Twice what you initially proposed, plus relocation costs. This sentimentality ends now. I'm out of my chair before I realize I'm moving. You had no authority. I had every authority. The board voted this morning, unanimously. Morrison stands, meeting my fury with cold calculation. You've been compromised, Donovan. Whatever spell that woman has you under ends today. Cooper will close the deal, we'll move forward with construction, and you'll remember who you actually are. And if I refuse, if I block this, then you're out. Full stop. We'll remove you from the project and initiate proceedings to remove you from the board itself. He leans forward. Your father built this company from nothing. He trusted us to keep his legacy alive. Do you really want to destroy everything he created for a woman you met 3 weeks ago? The low blow lands perfectly. Dad died 2 years ago, leaving me the company and the weight of his expectations. Everything I've done since has been about proving I'm worthy of his name, his legacy. But as I stand here, all I can think about is Clementine's face when I left her in that half-painted kitchen, the way she looked at me like I was finally becoming someone worth knowing. I need to make a call, I say. You have 1 hour before Cooper presents the offer. I suggest you use it wisely. I try calling Clementine 17 times from the car. Every call goes to voicemail. I text, I message. I do everything short of sending up flares, but she's silent. The drive to Boston is the longest 3 hours of my life. When I finally reach the bakery, there's a crowd outside. Through the window, I can see Clementine, Cooper, and Marcus Chen. My blood runs cold. I push through the door just in time to hear Cooper's pitch. Complete renovation of the property at our expense, a storefront in the new building with premium placement, and a settlement of $300,000. You'll never have to worry about money again, Miss Hayes. And all I have to do is give up the location where my family has been for 70 years. Clementine's voice is hollow. It's a generous offer, Marcus chimes in, and I want to strangle him. Honestly, Clem, it's more than generous. You'd be crazy not to take it. See? Cooper smiles like a shark. Even your friend agrees. This is a smart business decision. That's when Clementine sees me in the doorway. The look she gives me could freeze hell itself. You. The word is poison. This is your doing. Clementine, let me explain. Explain what? That you've been playing me this whole time? That the partnership was just another manipulation? She laughs, bitter and broken. God, I'm so stupid. You must have been laughing at me this whole time. Poor naive Clementine, thinking Donovan Sterling could actually change. That's not what happened. I didn't know about this offer. My board went behind my back. Your board? You're Donovan Sterling. You control everything. Tears streak down her face, and everyone feels like a knife in my chest. Unless this was the plan all along, get close to me, make me trust you, wait until I'm vulnerable, and then strike. You know that's not true. Do I? Because 3 weeks ago you walked into my bakery and told me I was going to lose everything. And now look, here you are, making that prophecy come true. She turns to Cooper. Tell your bosses they can take their offer and shove it. This bakery isn't for sale. Not now. Not ever. Miss Hayes, please be reasonable. Get out. She's magnificent in her fury, and my heart breaks even as I admire her strength. All of you, out of my bakery. Now. Cooper leaves with a huff. Marcus lingers, shooting me a triumphant look that makes my hands clench into fists. I told you it wouldn't last, he whispers as he passes. Then it's just me and Clementine, and the wreckage of everything we almost had. I didn't know, I say quietly. I swear to you I didn't know they were going to do this. But you knew about the original plan, the $2 billion project, the development that needs this exact location. She's not crying anymore, just staring at me with devastated clarity. When were you going to tell me? Or were you just going to wait until I fell completely in love with you, and then rip my heart out along with my bakery? Clementine, the worst part? Her voice cracks. I was falling for you. Despite everything, despite knowing better. I was actually falling for you. How pathetic is that? It's not pathetic. Because I'm falling for you too. That's why I need you to trust me. Trust you? She steps back like I've struck her. You came here to destroy my life. Everything since then has just been a different path to the same destination. That's not true. Everything changed when I met you. I changed. People don't change, Donovan, not really. Not when billions of dollars are at stake. She walks to the door, holds it open. Thank you for your investment. I'll have my lawyer draw up termination papers for our partnership. Consider yourself bought out. Don't do this. I'm not doing anything. You did this. You and your empire and your inability to see people as anything other than obstacles or acquisitions. Her voice drops to barely a whisper. I really thought you were different. I really thought... She stops, shakes her head. It doesn't matter what I thought. Please leave. I want to fight, want to argue, want to fall to my knees and beg her to believe me. But the look in her eyes tells me I've already lost. So I leave, and with every step, I feel the best thing that ever happened to me slipping away. And this time, I don't know if I can fix it. I don't return to Manhattan. Instead, I sit in my car outside the bakery for 3 hours, watching Clementine through the window as she works alone, her movements mechanical, joyless. Every time she wipes her eyes, I die a little more. My phone won't stop ringing. Morrison, Cooper, my attorney, the board. They're all demanding I return, sign off on the new acquisition strategy, let them move forward with the Cooper deal. I silence every call. At midnight, I finally drive to my hotel and start making calls of my own. By dawn, I've liquidated enough personal assets to make my accountant weep. By noon, I have a plan that will either save me or destroy me completely. I call an emergency board meeting for that evening. This better be good, Morrison growls as I walk into the conference room. We've wasted enough time on your little crisis. I'm withdrawing from the Boston project. The words land like bombs. Effective immediately. The room erupts. You can't be serious. That's $2 billion. Your father would be... My father, I cut through the noise, my voice steel, built this company on integrity, on creating value, not destroying communities. And he'd be ashamed of what we've become. I meet Morrison's eyes. What I've become. This is about the girl, Morrison says flatly. This is about remembering that buildings are just buildings, but some things, some places, some people are irreplaceable. I place my resignation letter on the table. I'm stepping down as CEO, effective in 30 days. That gives you time to transition. The Boston project can either die or be redesigned around the existing structures in the neighborhood. That's non-negotiable. You're destroying your father's legacy for a woman who won't even take your calls. No, I'm finally understanding what legacy actually means. I stand. My father taught me to build empires. Clementine Hayes taught me to build something that matters. Morrison's laugh is cruel. Noble speech. But you're still leaving here with nothing. No company, no project, and no girl. Was it worth it? I think about Clementine's smile when she successfully taught me to braid challah. The way she lights up talking about her grandmother's recipes. The paint-spattered moment when she almost kissed me. Yes, I say simply. It was worth it. The next morning, I'm back in Boston with a new plan and a racing heart. I knock on the bakery door at 5 a.m. knowing she'll be inside. Through the glass, I see her freeze when she recognizes my silhouette. "I'm not letting you in," she calls. "I know, but I need you to hear me out. Please." A long pause. Then, "You have 5 minutes." Talk through the door. Not ideal, but I'll take it. I quit. Silence. I resigned as CEO, withdrew from the Boston project entirely. Your bakery is safe, Clementine. The whole neighborhood is safe. There won't be any development, any acquisition attempts. I made sure of it. The door cracks open. Her face is pale, suspicious. "Why would you do that?" "Because you were right about everything. I was destroying beautiful things to build monuments to my own ego. And somewhere along the way, I forgot how to create anything that actually matters." I take a breath. "You gave me that back. You showed me what it means to build something with soul. So this is what? Your redemption arc? You destroy your career and I'm supposed to forgive you?" "No, I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know that you changed me. That these last 3 weeks weren't a manipulation or a game. They were the most real, most meaningful weeks of my entire life." "Donovan." I'm not done. I pull out a thick folder. "These are the signed documents terminating our partnership. You're free of any obligation to me. I've also set up a trust fund. Before you say no, listen. It's structured so you can't refuse it. Anonymous donor. The bakery will receive quarterly payments enough to cover maintenance, upgrades, whatever you need. You'll never have to worry about money again. You can't just..." I can, and I did. Consider it my apology for ever walking into your life in the first place. I set the folder down on the doorstep. There's one more thing in there. A property deed. That vacant lot 2 blocks over, I bought it. It's yours now. If you ever want to expand, or if one of your neighbors needs help, or if you just want to turn it into a community garden, it's yours to do with as you please." She's staring at me like I've lost my mind. Maybe I have. "Why are you doing this?" "Because I love you." The words come out raw, honest, terrifying. "I'm in love with you, Clementine Hayes. Completely, utterly, inconveniently in love with you. And I know I don't deserve a second chance. I know I hurt you. But I needed you to know that you didn't fall for a lie. The man who learned to make bread with you, who painted your kitchen at midnight, who wanted nothing more than to see you smile, that was real. That was me. Maybe for the first time in my life." Tears streamed down her face. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know." I step back, preparing to leave. "I'll be in Boston for a while, figuring out what comes next. But I won't bother you again. You have my word." "Donovan, wait. Be happy, Clementine. That's all I want." I make it halfway down the block before I hear her voice. "You're an idiot, Donovan Sterling." I turn. She's standing in the street, still in her flower-covered apron, tears streaming down her face. "A complete idiot," she continues, walking toward me. "Who quits their job without having a backup plan? Who gives away property like it's candy? Who falls in love with someone they met 3 weeks ago?" Apparently I do. She stops in front of me, close enough that I can see the gold flecks in her green eyes. "You really love me? More than I've ever loved anything in my life. Even though I'm stubborn and difficult, and I threw you out with a wooden spoon. Especially because of all that." She laughs through her tears. "I'm still mad at you. I know. And I still don't completely trust you. I'll spend every day earning it back. This might not work. We're from completely different worlds. Then we'll build a new world. Together." She reaches up, cups my face in her flour-dusted hands. "You're absolutely insane. Completely." I lean my forehead against hers. Is that a yes? That's a maybe. But she's smiling now. That devastating smile that makes everything worthwhile. Ask me again after you've proved you can successfully pipe frosting. That's your condition? Frosting? I have standards, Sterling. And then finally, she kisses me. It tastes like sugar and cinnamon and second chances, and it's absolutely perfect. 3 months later, and I still can't pipe frosting to save my life. It's like watching a toddler try to write Shakespeare, Clementine laughs, gently taking the piping bag from my hands. Here, let me show you again. We're standing shoulder to shoulder in the newly renovated kitchen, teaching a baking class to a group of teenagers from the community center. It's Tuesday afternoon, my favorite time of the week now. Who knew that teaching kids how to make sourdough could be more satisfying than closing a billion-dollar deal? Mr. Sterling is really bad at this, one of the kids, Maya, observes with the brutal honesty only teenagers possess. He really is, Clementine agrees, her eyes sparkling with mischief. But he's learning, slowly. Life without Sterling Enterprises has been strange, terrifying, liberating. I wake up at 4 a.m. not to review acquisition reports, but to help Clementine prep for the morning rush. I spend my days not in boardrooms, but covered in flour, learning the difference between Danish pastry and croissant lamination. My hands, once soft from years of desk work, are now calloused and scarred from burns and cuts. I've never been happier. But lately, I've noticed something. A shadow that crosses Clementine's face when she thinks I'm not looking. A hesitation before she kisses me. A distance that wasn't there before. After the class ends and the teenagers file out, I corner her by the industrial mixer. Talk to me. About what? She's scrubbing a already clean counter, avoiding my eyes. About whatever's been bothering you for the past 2 weeks. She stops scrubbing. Sighs. It's stupid. If it's bothering you, it's not stupid. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. The words come out in a rush. For you to wake up one morning and realize you've made a terrible mistake, that you gave up everything, your career, your company, your entire life, for a baker from Boston who can barely keep her business afloat even with your help. Clementine, I'm serious, Donovan. You were Donovan Sterling. You had power, wealth, respect. Now you're… What? My assistant baker. My boyfriend who lives in a modest apartment and drives a 3-year-old car. How long before you resent me for that? I set down the bowl I'm holding very carefully, because my hands want to shake. Do you remember what you asked me the first day we met? What I couldn't buy? Legacy. Soul. You gave me both. I step closer, taking her flour-dusted hands in mine. Every morning I wake up next to you is a morning I don't hate myself. Every day I spend here teaching kids to bake, helping Mrs. Chen carry her groceries, being part of something real, it's worth more than every dollar I ever made. But what if it's not enough? What if 6 months from now or a year you miss it? The power, the excitement. I don't miss building empires, Clementine. I miss having a purpose. I pull her closer, and then I found one, here, with you. She's crying now, and I wipe away her tears with my thumbs. I'm scared, she whispers. I'm scared of loving you this much. Good, I'm terrified too. I press my forehead to hers. But we're terrified together. That night, we're closing up when Marcus Chen appears at the door. I haven't seen him since the day everything fell apart, and I instinctively step closer to Clementine. Relax, Sterling, Marcus says, but there's no malice in it. I'm not here to cause trouble. I actually came to apologize. Apologize? Clementine looks as surprised as I feel. I was hoping you'd fail. Both of you. He has the grace to look ashamed. I thought if Sterling screwed up, you'd finally realize you deserved better. Someone like, well, me. Marcus. But I was wrong. About him, about us, about everything. Marcus looks at me directly. You're good for her, Sterling. Better than I ever was. You see her, really see her, in a way I never did. And Clem, you're different with him. Lighter, happier. Clementine's hand finds mine, squeezes tight. I'm opening a second location, Marcus continues. Downtown, and I was hoping we could partner on some menu items. Your pastries with my coffee. What do you say? It's an olive branch, and we all know it. I'd like that, Clementine says softly. Thank you, Marcus. After he leaves, she turns to me with tears in her eyes again. Why am I crying so much today? Because you're happy, and happiness can be just as overwhelming as grief. Is that from a fortune cookie? No, it's from 3 months of therapy and a self-help book you keep pretending you don't read. She laughs, swats my arm. I love you, you know that? Say it again. I'll never get tired of hearing it. I love you, Donovan Sterling. Former corporate raider, current terrible baker, future. She pauses, and something shifts in her expression. What is your future? Have you thought about it? Every day. And? I take a breath, gathering courage. I've been talking to some investors. Not the Manhattan sharks, local people who care about community development. I want to start a company that helps small businesses like yours, provides capital without the predatory terms, helps preserve neighborhood character instead of destroying it. Her eyes go wide. Donovan, that's probably insane, definitely risky. But I learned from the best that the best things in life are worth fighting for, even when the odds are terrible. She launches herself at me, kissing me hard enough that we stumble backward into the counter. Is that a good response? I ask when we come up for air. That's a "you're brilliant, and I can't believe you're mine" response. I can't believe you're mine either. We stand there in the empty bakery, wrapped in each other's arms, and I think about how far we've come. From enemies to partners, to something neither of us expected, but both of us needed. Hey, Donovan? Yeah? Thank you for walking into my bakery that day. Even though I was planning to destroy it? Especially because of that. She grins. You gave me the best fight of my life, and then you gave me your heart. Best investment I ever made, she groans. Was that a business metaphor? Really? Old habits die hard. Well, get new habits. Better ones. I'm working on it. I kiss her forehead. With the best teacher I've ever had. Outside, snow begins to fall on Boston, coating the street in white. Inside, surrounded by the smell of bread and the warmth of ovens and the love of my life in my arms, I finally understand what home feels like. And I never want to leave. 1 year later. The bakery looks like something out of a fairy tale. String lights wrap around every surface, flowers overflow from vintage vases, and the entire neighborhood has crammed itself into the space we've spent 12 months transforming together. Tonight is the grand reopening of Hayes and Daughters, and I'm about to either make the best decision of my life or have a heart attack. Possibly both. Stop fidgeting, Mrs. Chen whispers, adjusting my tie. You look handsome. She'll say yes. You don't know that. I've been watching that girl look at you like you hung the moon for a year. She'll say yes. The ring box in my pocket feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. Clementine doesn't know about this part. She thinks tonight is just about celebrating the bakery's transformation, the expansion into the lot next door, the new commercial kitchen, the classroom space where we teach twice a week. She doesn't know I've been planning this for 3 months, coordinating with her mother who flew in from Florida, getting permission from her grandmother's photo that hangs above the counter. The doors open, and she walks in. My breath catches like it does every single time I see her. She's wearing a green dress that matches her eyes, her red curls pinned up in a way that makes me want to immediately take them down, and she's glowing with pure joy. Donovan! She rushes over, grabbing my hands. Can you believe this? All these people, all this love. I can believe it. You've built something extraordinary here. We built it, she corrects, and kisses me softly. Together. The party is perfect. Marcus brings champagne from his new downtown location. The teenagers from our baking classes perform a dance they choreographed. Mr. Petrov gives a speech in broken English about how this bakery saved his life after his wife died. There isn't a dry eye in the house. And then it's my turn to speak. I stand at the front, Clementine beside me, and look out at all these faces that have become family. A year and a half ago, I walked into this bakery planning to destroy it. Nervous laughter ripples through the crowd. I was Donovan Sterling, corporate raider, and I saw this place as nothing more than an obstacle to profit. But then, I met a woman with flour on her face and fire in her eyes, who taught me that some things are worth more than money, worth more than power, worth more than any empire I could build. Clementine's hand tightens in mine. She taught me about legacy, about soul, about fighting for what matters even when the odds are impossible. I turned to face her fully. And she taught me how to love without conditions, without calculations, without fear. Donovan, what? I drop to one knee, and she gasps. Clementine Hayes, you are the best thing that ever happened to me. The most infuriating, most beautiful, most extraordinary thing. I pull out the ring, a vintage emerald surrounded by diamonds, because nothing else could match her eyes. I want to spend the rest of my life learning to properly pipe frosting. I want to wake up at 4 a.m. and make bread with you until we're 90. I want to build a life, a family, a legacy that would make your grandmother proud. Tears stream down her face. You're doing this here? In front of everyone? You threw me out of this bakery with a wooden spoon in front of everyone. Seemed fitting to propose here too. She laughs through her tears. You're insane. Completely. Is that a yes? You haven't actually asked the question, Sterling. Always making me work for it. I grin. Clementine Rose Hayes, will you marry me? Yes. She pulls me up and kisses me as the bakery erupts in cheers. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. The ring slides onto her finger perfectly, because of course it does. When you know, you know. I love you, she whispers against my lips. I love you more. Impossible. I loved you first. You threw me out first. I think I loved you the moment you pointed that wooden spoon at me. We're going to argue about this forever, aren't we? Absolutely. And we kiss again as our friends and family celebrate around us, in this bakery that brought us together, in this neighborhood that became our home. 5 years later, the morning light streams through the windows of Hayes and Sterling Community Development as I review the latest proposals. We've helped 37 small businesses in the last 5 years stay afloat and thrive. Former Manhattan shark, current community hero. My therapist says the irony is beautiful. Daddy, Daddy! A tiny hurricane in pigtails barrels into my office. Rose Sterling, age 3, named after both her mother's middle name and her great-great-grandmother's legacy. Good morning, troublemaker. I scoop her up. Shouldn't you be with Mommy at the bakery? Mommy says, come now, baby coming. My heart stops. Baby coming? Now? Now! Rose claps her hands, delighted by my panic. 20 minutes later, I'm in the hospital holding Clementine's hand as she breathes through contractions. You're doing great, I tell her. I hate you, she pants. This is your fault. You said that with Rose too. And I meant it then too. Oh God, here comes another one. 4 hours later, I'm holding my son, James Morrison Sterling, named after my father, and ironically, the board member who tried to ruin everything but eventually became our biggest supporter once he saw what we were building. Clementine is exhausted but radiant. Rose asleep in her grandmother's arms in the corner. We have 2 kids, she says wonderingly. We're a family. We've been a family since the day you threw me out of your bakery. Best decision I ever made. Second best, I correct. The best was saying yes when I proposed. Debatable. Our life isn't perfect. The bakery still has hard months. My company faces challenges. We argue about whose turn it is to wake up with the baby and whether we can afford to expand to a 3rd location. But every morning, I wake up next to the love of my life, and every night I come home to laughter and chaos and bread cooling on the counter. Last week, we bought the building next to the original bakery. We're turning it into a culinary school, free classes for anyone who wants to learn. Clementine's idea, my funding, our dream. "What are you thinking about?" Clementine asks, watching me with those green eyes that still make my heart skip. "How lucky I am. How grateful I am that you didn't accept my first offer, or your second, or your third. You were impossible. You were insufferable. And now you're mine." She reaches for my hand. Forever. I look at my wife, my children, the life we've built from the ashes of who I used to be, and I know that this messy, beautiful, flower-dusted life is the empire I was always meant to build. Forever, I agree, and kiss her softly. And it all started with a wooden spoon. She laughs, and it's the most beautiful sound in the world. Outside, Boston continues its rhythm. Inside, we hold our family close and count our blessings. And somewhere, I like to think, Clementine's grandmother is smiling. Because we didn't just save the bakery, we saved each other. The end.